Okay, so in this story you have Orpheus talking to the gods of the dead. Right? So Orpheus himself is the speaker here, and he begins, Causa viae est coniunx. That means the cause of my journey, viae, is my wife, est coniunx. Into whom, into whom, a calcata vipera, that literally means a having been trodden snake. So calcata, it's a PPP, it means having been trodden down. Right, so into whom a trodden on snake diffudit venenum, poured poison, and took away, abstulit, her crescentes annos, her growing years. Okay. And then he says, I wanted to be able, posse, present infinitive of possum, I wanted to be able to endure, pati, that's the present infinitive of the deponent verb, patior, pati passus sum, to suffer or bear or endure. I wanted to be able to endure, nor will I deny, negabo, nor will I deny. And then we now go into an indirect statement, accusative and infinitive. Literally, nor will I deny me to have tried, i.e., nor will I deny that I have tried. Temptasse is a shortened version of temptavisse, so it's a perfect infinitive. Nor will I deny that I have tried. Vicit amor, but love has won, has conquered me. Now the word but doesn't actually appear in that sentence, but you can add it in the English, because Latin often leaves a word like sed implied. But love has won. And then he says, this God, hic Deus, est bene notus, is well known in supera ora, in the upper region. Is well known in the upper, so superos means upper, high up there, and an ora, it can mean a coast or something, but often it just means an area, a region. In other words, people know about love up in the real world, not among the dead. So this God is well known in the upper region. And then there's another but here, which is implied. But whether, that's an, but whether he is, sit, present subjunctive of sum, whether he is here as well, hic et, I do not know, dubito, I doubt, I do not know. Sit is subjunctive because this is an indirect question. I do not know whether he is. Right, the direct question would be, is he? But this is indirect. I do not know whether he is. But, said, I predict, auguror, I predict, esse. Now this is very compressed. Basically it means I predict that he is. So you have to imagine a noun here, like eum. I imagine him to be. I predict that he is here, hic, as well, et. Okay, and then in fact, no, sorry, the said and the tamen both mean but. Right, it's just an emphatic but. But, however, I predict that he is here also. And if the story, the fama, of veteris rapinae, of old abduction, right, of a rapina, an abduction that happened a long time ago, that's the idea of veteris, if the story of old abduction, non est mentita, is not made up, is not fictional, is not fake, Then love, amor, joined junxit, vos quoque, you as well, you also. And Ovid is making a bit of a joke here, because he has his character saying, if that story isn't made up, that is the story of Pluto and Proserpina meeting, then you fall in love as well. But of course, that story is made up, and so is this story, right? So it's a bit of a joke about the nature of fiction, if you like. Okay, and then he says, I, ego. And then he's going to be swearing, and in Latin you swear by something, you swear per that thing. Okay, or in fact begging, you beg in this case by something. So he says, I, by haec loca, these places, full of fear, plena timoris, by this huge chaos or void, per hoc ingens chaos, by this huge void. And quae, by the silentia, the silences, that's the plural of silentium, by the silences of your vasti regni, of your huge kingdom, of your vast kingdom, genitive case. So, by all of these things, he says, reverse retexiter. Reverse, I beg you, oro, I beg, the properata fata, the premature fates of Eurydice. So Eurydice is genitive. And it looks kind of weird. That's because it's actually a Greek genitive that's just been put into the Latin alphabet. So the premature fates of Eurydice. And then he says, we debemur, we are bound, perhaps. We are bound to you, vobis, omnia. This is what's called an accusative of respect. It means we are bound to you with respect to everything, in every way, in every regard, something like that. We are bound to you in everything. And, quae, having delayed, this is the perfect participle of a deponent verb, moror, morari, moratus sum, having delayed for a little bit, paulum is an adverb that means for a little while, having delayed a little, serius aut citius, later or more quickly. In English we would say sooner or later. Latin does it the other way around. Latin says later or sooner. In English, we normally say sooner or later. We hurry properamus to one dwelling, ad unam sedem, to one dwelling or one abode. In other words, he's saying, look, we all die eventually, right? Some of us sooner, some of us later, but we all die eventually. We all, omnes, all of us, we all tendimus, we all go, basically, to here, hook. Right? Hic means here, hook means to here, or hither in old-fashioned English. So we all go here. Haec est, this is our domus ultima, our ultimate home, our final home. And you, vosque, and you, that's you plural, right? Pluto and his wife Proserpina, and maybe the other gods of the underworld as well. And you hold, vosque tenetis, the longissima regna, the longest rule of the humani generis, genitive, of the human race. So he's kind of flattering the gods of the underworld here, and he's saying, look, you actually rule us longer than the gods above, right? Like Jupiter, because, we live for however many years, 70 years, 80 years, maybe 30 years or 50, whatever, but then we're in the underworld for eternity after that. So he's saying, look, you're really the big guy. You're in charge, ultimately. We all end up in your place sooner or later. Okay. And then he says, but if, quod si, but if the fates, fata, deny, negant, the favour, veniam, venia is a favour, and you could say in English, this favour, like hanc veniam, if the fates deny this favour, pro conjuge, for my wife, certum est, it is certain, literally it is certain for me, to not want, nolere means to not want, to return, redire. So literally, it is certain for me to not want to return. Or in better English, it is certain that I will not want to return. And then he says, rejoice, gaudete, plural imperative, rejoice in the death, leto, of two, duorum. Rejoice in the death of two. So basically what Orpheus is saying is, look, let my wife come back to the world above, and then in a few years' time, we'll be back here anyway, we'll have died. And then you can have two deaths. But he says, look, if you keep her here, I'm going to go back to the world above, and I'm going to find a way of never coming back again, right? Because I'm a sort of mythical hero, and so I'll find a way of avoiding death, becoming a god. Or, I will... Perhaps he's not saying he'll become immortal. Perhaps he's just saying, I'll delay my death as long as possible. Right? So if you keep her here, I'm just going to live on and on and on, either by becoming immortal or by just delaying my death. Whereas, if you let Eurydice come with me to the world of the living, then she and I will live together for a little while, and then at the normal time, we will die, and you'll have both of us. So that is his argument.